Welcome to Chalice Unitarian Universalist Congregation Online. We are a community of diverse beliefs and experiences, nurturing the liberal religious spirit and united by our desire to grow in love and in service. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your life's journey, you are welcome here. Whether you gather with us every Sunday, once or twice a year, or are here with us this morning for the first time, we are glad you are here. I'm Reverend Sharon Wiley, Chalice's minister. Our worship musician this morning is our music director, Tim McKnight, and our song leader is Jennifer Savion. If you are new to online worship, a quick orientation. On your menu is a button that says chat. You'll see that we are already talking to each other, greeting each other this morning in the chat box. Some of us love to use the chat. Some of us don't want to use the chat at all. You don't need to during the service, and you're in control of whether the box is open or closed. So you have that button chat on your menu, and if you click it when the box is open, it should close the box back down. And likewise, if it's not open, you can click on it and open it up. If you do like to use the chat, please be sure to use that little blue drop-down menu to select all panelists and attendees. If you only post to panelists, I'm the only panelist, and I may not see your what you've sent me during the service. So the intention is for everyone to share and chat together. So this is me standing at the door on our courtyard outside our chapel, greeting you on Sunday morning, giving hugs to those of you who welcome hugs. Since I can't hug you, let's all give ourselves a hug of hello. If you share your living space with someone else, consider giving them a hug. Now, I especially want to welcome all of you who are newcomers at Chalice. In addition to this online worship, we have groups that continue to meet online and groups and activities like our women's book club, men's breakfast group, support groups, religious education for children. All of these are happening online. So you don't need to be a member to participate in our groups and activities. They're open to everyone. You do need to be on our email list. If you are new to Chalice and would like to learn more about these activities, including getting on our email list, you're invited to stay right here in this Zoom room after the service for some continued chat in the chat box. Now, let's take a breath together. The words of our call to worship. Everything is falling apart. Like compost disintegrating, everything broken and failing, turning, transforming. Our world rich with disintegration and with possibility. Together, we dream of the garden. Together, we plant and plan for a new world, new growth, new ways of being. This hour together, a germination, a time for new life to take hold of us so that we too are made new. We too are turned and transformed, nourished by song and story and music and dreams. Let us worship together. You are invited to join in singing. If you have a sorrow or worry you would like to share with the community this morning, now is our time to share these in the chat box. They won't be spoken out loud. The chat is where we'll share and we'll respond to each other there. This is the time for sorrows and worries. We'll share joys a bit later on. If you have a candle in your home that you would like to light for sorrow, this is the time. May our sorrows be lessened. May our burdens be lightened. In sorrow and challenge, may we know ourselves always held and never alone. May we act to extend our warmth to all who are hurting in our wider world. Our story is titled Have Fun, Molly Lou Melon, written by Patty Lovell and illustrated by David Catrow. Molly Lou Melon's toy chest overflowed with whoozy-whatsits of all shapes and sizes. Her grandma had told her, "Back in the olden days, I didn't have fancy dolls or action figures. I made them out of twigs, leaves, and flowers like hollyhocks and daisies." So she did just that. Molly Lou Melon's backyard had a big weeping willow and crumbly rock walls with thingamajigs peeking out from every crevice. Her grandma had told her, "Back in the olden days, I didn't have a store-bought dollhouse. I made one in my backyard." So she did just that. Molly Lou Melon's garage was full of colorful boxes and crates. Her grandma had told her, "Back in the olden days, I didn't have a race car. I sat in a cardboard box and sped down the hill." So she did just that. Molly Lou Melon lay on her back in the tall, willowy grass. Her grandma had told her, "Back in the olden days, I didn't have a television. I watched the clouds that floated by, and I saw lots of things in them." So she did just that. One day, new neighbors moved in next door. When Molly Lou Melon went to welcome their little girl, she heard Gertie say to her mom, "I'm bored, bored, bored." Molly Lou Melon invited Gertie over to play. On Monday, Gertie brought over her darling Darla Deluxe dollhouse, complete with an electric mixer and working chandeliers. Molly Lou Melon showed Gertie her tree root palace, complete with acorn cap dinner plates, woven leaf air conditioning system, and cicada jacuzzi. Gertie was amazed. On Tuesday, Gertie drove over in her battery-operated, fully loaded Coupe de Ville. "Look out below!" Molly Lou Melon screamed right before hurtling down the hill in her turbo boxcar, hand-painted with orange and red flames. Gertie was amazed. On Wednesday, Gertie was going to call Molly Lou Melon on her cell phone, but then she heard a strange sound coming from an old tin can that was dangling in the window. "This is the operator. Will you accept a call from me, Molly Lou Melon?" "Yes," Gertie spoke into the can. "Great, come on over." Click. Gertie was amazed. On Thursday, Gertie asked Molly Lou Melon if she'd like to come over and watch cartoons on her big screen TV. "It's 120 inches wide." Molly Lou Melon said, "Not today, thanks. I'm going to go watch the clouds. They're sky wide." Gertie was amazed. On Friday, Gertie brought over a homemade doll with a frilly hollyhock skirt and violets for hair. "It's for your palace," she said. And Molly Lou Melon was amazed. On Friday evening, Molly Lou Melon and Gertie were tired from playing all week. They lay down on the tall, willowy grass, looking up at the clouds. "I see a butterfly," Gertie giggled, "and a penguin and a refrigerator." Molly Lou Melon opened her eyes wide and grinned her biggest grin. "I see a grandma-shaped cloud winking at me." And Molly Lou Melon winked right back. Everything is falling apart. I first used these words in worship in September 2017 in a sermon called Facing the Mess We're In. It was the first sermon in a 10-part series based on the book Active Hope, How to Face the Mess We're In Without Going Crazy by Chris Johnstone and Joanna Macy. Macy is an environmental activist, and the book was written in 2012 with a significant focus on the mess of climate change. Our sermon series with the book took a broader view of the mess we're in. Macy and Johnstone share their observation that we are in a time of transition from an industrial society committed to economic growth to a life-sustaining society committed to the healing and recovery of our world. They call this time the Great Turning. I believe more than ever and see more than ever that we are in this transition. It's messy, it's painful, it's even dangerous. I think one of the main conflicts we are wrestling with in our country, or one way of understanding what's going on, is that there's a conflict between those of us who want to go forward in creating a life-sustaining society committed to the healing and recovery of our world, and those who would like to turn back to stay in an industrial society committed to economic growth. Everything is falling apart. We are in this terrible transition place where nothing is working the way it should or that we would hope for it to work, but we have not yet built the life-sustaining society to move into. We are, it has been suggested, laboring, pushing, birthing something new. And it is messy and hard and even frightening. We will be talking about this a lot in the weeks ahead. Our work during this time is multi-layered. We are calling for change, protesting police violence, contacting our elected leaders. We are reading and learning about white supremacy, white fragility, and the different shapes that anti-racism work can take. And, as is often the case, we are thoughtful about how and where we spend our money. There have been calls to support Black-owned businesses. There have been calls to support small and local businesses that have lost income due to the pandemic. We see stores, restaurants, and other businesses closing. At every level, we have leaders trying and failing to balance the safety needs of the pandemic with the disintegration of the economy. I encourage you to remember that in most cases, the pandemic has hastened what was already happening. The retail industry was already in crisis. Movie theaters were already in crisis. Malls were already in crisis. In the world we hope to build, in the life-sustaining society committed to the healing and recovery of our world, our shopping and buying habits will be dramatically different than they are now. Buying more is not sustainable. Buying everything new is not sustainable. And I invite you to pay attention now in order to learn from these pandemic times. How many items of clothing does it turn out you really need? So I don't know about you, but I've worn 3 different pairs of shoes in the past 6 months, for example. Now, I'm going to share this. I think I might own more shoes than a lot of people, but I counted and I own 30 pairs of shoes. So I'm wearing 10% of the shoes that I own. I don't actually need to buy another pair of shoes for as long as I live. How many of your kitchen gadgets and utensils do you actually use? What are the things in your home that are really useful to you? Now that so many of us are home more than ever, this is a good time to pay attention. In a life-sustaining society, I imagine we will own far fewer things, and that the things we own will be better. They will serve multiple purposes. They will be versatile. They will cost more because they will have been ethically produced, and they will last a long time. Clothing will be designed to fit us even as we gain weight or lose weight. We will keep and use the same furniture our whole lives. We will become experts, or we will know experts in our community on refinishing, repurposing, reusing. Companies will only manufacture products if they have an actionable plan for dealing with the post-consumer waste that their production creates. As an example, refrigerator manufacturers should have to reckon with the old refrigerators that their products replace. One of the failures of our current economic system is that small local businesses can rarely compete on price with large companies. We are losing local craftsmanship in favor of cheaply produced goods made for a mass market. Everything has to change. And as with everything, it's hard to know how we get from where we are to where we want to be. We need to consume less across the board, and we need to try and spend locally when we do spend money. I imagine those things sound good to most of us. And it's not that easy to find local places to shop that have the things we need. Part of what we pay for at large companies is convenience. And we can't let perfection be the enemy of good. Shopping at a thrift store when you can is a step in the right direction. Join your neighborhood Buy Nothing group if you haven't. Buy Nothing groups are organized through Facebook. Consider what steps you might take to become a more mindful consumer. Maybe you could keep a logbook of everything non-consumable you buy. Maybe you could try setting a limit for yourself for how many new things you'll buy each year. Maybe you and a friend want to be, there's probably a better name for it, but low consumption buddies or something like that, to report to each other about how you're working to be mindful consumers. I don't suppose we all have 30 pairs of shoes in our closets, but many of us have a habit to break of buying something new when we think we need it. There are many, many things that have to change for us to build a life-sustaining society. And buying less is a change that each of us can start making today.
I got an old blue shirt and it suits me just fine. I like the way it feels, so I wear it all the time. I got an old guitar, it won't ever stay in tune. I like the way it sounds in the dark in an empty room. I got an old pair of boots and they fit just right. Well, I can work all day and I can dance all night. I got an old used car and it runs just like a top. I got a feeling it ain't ever going to stop. Stuff that works, stuff that holds up, the kind of stuff you don't hang on the wall. Stuff that's real, stuff you feel, the kind of stuff you reach for when you fall. got a pretty good friend who's seen me at my worst. He can't tell if I'm a blessing or a curse, but he always shows up when the chips are down. That's the kind of stuff I like to be around. Stuff that works, stuff that holds up, the kind of stuff you don't hang on the wall. Stuff that's real, stuff you feel, the kind of stuff you reach for when you fall. Yes, the kind of stuff I like to be around.
Yay. We shared our sorrows and worries a bit earlier. Now it's time to share our joys. If you have a joy you would like to share with the community, we can share these in the chat box and respond to each other there. They won't be spoken out loud. Listen to some music. And if you would like to light a candle for joy in your home, this is the time. May our joys be multiplied. May we act to extend our warmth to all who are rejoicing in the wider world. Chalice is a robust community of people with diverse gifts and interests. It is through our communal sharing of our gifts and talents that this community exists. This morning, we have information to share about our men's breakfast group called Cracker Barrel.
Hi, I'm Richard Quartz. We're here today to tell you about Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel is a men's breakfast group. It's Chalice Men's Breakfast Group that meets weekly at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays for 2 hours. We currently meet via Zoom. Pre-pandemic, we met at a local restaurant. The term Cracker Barrel dates back to the late 1800s, when men would gather around the Cracker Barrel in general stores and shoot the breeze, drinking coffee, or sometimes something stronger. The history of our group is a bit murky. The Chalice newsletters from as far back as 2001 mention the group, although some believe it started in one of the two Forerunner congregations. Marty?
Our group meeting is informal with little structure. We start every week with jokes. Then our normal format is to go around the room inviting each attendee to bring up and discuss a topic of their choice. There are no limits and there are no taboos. Bruce?
Currently, there are almost 20 men on our active roster. Some attend most every week, some only occasionally. Any male Chalice congregant is welcome at any time. Contact information is on the Chalice website under Connection, Eat, and Chat. Dennis?
Thank you, Bruce. The second time I attended Chalice, longtime Cracker Barrel member Newt Stafford's wife, Jerry, encouraged me to join. Indeed, I took her advice and have been a Cracker Barrel member ever since. It is one of the most treasured activities I have at Chalice. As Marty said, our usual format is to invite each of us to share our thoughts and ideas on whatever topic that we are passionate about, from politics to social justice, to science, to music, to history, to art, to literature, or just simple stories about life's experience. The topics are varied, but the one thing you know is your Cracker Barrel friends are eager to hear what you have to share. Such a simple format, but it leads to deeper friendship. Fred.
Thanks, Dennis. Cracker Barrel discussions give me laughs, new ideas, new perspectives on race, religion, politics, and new information about different people, events, and new modes of social action. Very important. Cracker Barrel discussions give me both a sense of solidarity with these engaging, talented men, and each time a lift in my spirits. Richard?
Thank you, Fred. That's a quick overview. I especially want to invite new members of the congregation to try us out. Small group activities are the best way to deepen connections and appreciate the values of our wonderful congregation. I'll put my email address in the chat for those who are interested. Join us.
Join us.
Chalice is not a place. We're a community of people. When you hear about groups such as Cracker Barrel, then you know this is part of who we are. We are blessed by this gathering of men, supporting each other with sharing and friendship. The Sunday offering is an expression of the generosity that makes our congregational life possible. As Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg writes, Generosity is characterized by the inner quality of letting go or relinquishing. Being able to let go, to give up, to renounce, to give generously. These capacities spring from the same source within us. When we practice generosity, we open to all of these liberating qualities simultaneously. Please text your donation to Chalice. If you haven't texted a donation before, know that once you text the amount, you'll get a reply with a link to follow to enter your credit card information. And once you've done that once, you won't need to enter it again. If your Sunday donation is part of your pledge payment, please be sure to put the word pledge after the dollar amount. And you can make a text donation anytime. It doesn't need to be just during the worship service. The phone number will be on screen in a moment, and I'll also put it in the chat box. Please give generously. Please join in dedicating our offering with words of affirmation. When all the people of the world love, then the strong will not overpower the weak, the many will not oppress the few, the wealthy will not mock the poor, the honored will not disdain the humble, the cunning will not deceive the innocent. This will be our world when all of the people love. You are invited to join in singing.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
In the past couple of weeks, I've felt your anxieties escalating. Maybe my own too, but your questions to me and the things you come to me to discuss are fraught. We're worried about the election and the aftermath of the election, and we're worried about what feels like escalating violence. So I want to name that no matter who appears to win the election, it's going to be a mess. There are going to be legal battles. There are going to be investigations into election fraud. There are going to be leaders trying to figure out what to do. The likelihood that the aftermath of the election will be peaceful is slim, in my opinion. So I don't want to sound blasé or lighthearted, but I honestly just feel like whatever happens, we'll get through that too. We've made it almost 4 years through this presidency, and we couldn't imagine that in the beginning. We've made it this far, and we just need to keep going. We are a majority. We were in 2016, and we are a greater majority now. For millennia, humans have survived political upheaval and national tumult. We will get through this. So I wanted to close with words I shared with you in the early days of the pandemic. The spiritual work of this time is to stay in the present moment, not to let worries or fears about the future become paralyzing. As it is written in the book of Matthew in the Christian New Testament, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh talks about surrendering yourself to the present moment. And it may be that the present moment is just about getting dressed, taking vitamins, looking to see what's in the pantry, and maybe going for a walk. It may be that the present moment is about watching something on TV to pass the time. It may be that the present moment is about watching a concert online or phoning a friend or reading the news or not reading the news. We might wish we could do something big, but for the most part, the work of our daily lives right now is one small thing after another. And if we can keep doing one small thing after another, I think we'll find that we're doing enough.
Here we are in the wake of another sleepless night, another morning we all hope will never come. From afar I can hear the echo of cries for lost daughters, lost brothers, and lost sons. It's a call to be patient, it's a call to be kind in the face of life's mysteries. Blow, wind, blow, no, I won't stop hoping. Blow, wide open. Here I am, so small, my hands are tiny things. What can I do to be of help at all? have music, kind words, a dollar and a smile. I will give everything I am to keep us all from falling in the face of life's mystery. Blow, winds, blow, no, I won't stop hoping. Blow, winds, blow, my heart wide open. Let me be the face of change I want to see. Let me be the saving grace that somebody needs when the old wind blows. No, I won't stop hoping. Blow and blow, my heart wide open. Blow, my heart wide open.
Our closing words come from Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Blessed be. You're invited to close our time together by singing the well. Newcomers are invited to stay here in the worship for a newcomer chat, and everyone is invited to coffee hour.